So I was about back in November, October. I was with my good friend Babs hanging out in Bushwick at a bar somewhere between the awful hours of 2 to 3 in the morning. And I had a discussion with him about the uses of cocaine. And Originally, my plan was to write an essay on cocaine, but I thought maybe I'd get my ideas out here first. So, what's interesting about the use of cocaine, that unlike weed or some pill or even heroin, that cocaine is the popular drug for the nightlife, especially in clubbing. So one time, I was in bed with my girlfriend and we were watching Succession, um, this cheesy Netflix show. And in Succession, there is a scene where the businessman sees his Mexican business friend and they're having a normal conversation. And then there's this like shocking transition of them in the bathroom snorting cocaine. And to me, I got some very much a homoerotic vibe from it. There was this kind of excitement around the cocaine use in Succession. Like, man, you got the cocaine? Yeah, I do. Yeah, and then they get this really excitement, like they're about to have sex or something. Another thing happened when I saw Margaret Cho do stand up. Cho had a skit about her doing cocaine in the bathroom of a club with her friends or girlfriends. And she's like, I got the cocaine, girls. Oh, yes. Yeah, where is it? And supposedly they would have fun. And one would even kind of have this fake romantic chick flip vibe to it where they snort cocaine off their breasts or something like that. Or they snort cocaine off the floor and do these dares. And they're bonding like little kids. And so I thought between the Cho skit and this cocaine sniffing and snorting in Succession is that they're both getting excited for this drug and they're both having a communal connection and no one's going to feel anxiety or PTSD and everyone's just going to have fun tonight. And I noticed that there was heavy cocaine use back in 2015, 2016 in what would we know as the alt-right movement, or when the far right got big before Donald Trump electing. I literally saw Richard Spencer snorting cocaine from a friend of mine, and it was kind of shocking because for a man that talks about tradition, this little kid went up to him and goes, man, I got some coke. Oh yeah, let's do coke in the corner. And it becomes this kind of where everyone's having a party in the living room and the little dark area of the corner, they're, wrapping up a dollar bill and putting it up their nose and snorting it and getting excited like teenagers having unprotected sex at a dorm room and then the next night they call it date rape. And the people, Richard Spencer snorted cokes with the likes of Eli Mosley, Emily Eucas. There might have been a possibility of John Morgan, but John Morgan was more into psychedelics. And, there's also stories of Greg Johnson smoking weed and watching classical and being with his boyfriend on the couch. And to me, I find this very, again, this brotherhood of cocaine, manner bun of cocaine. Another thing I want to reference is a documentary on Vice called Chemsex. And in the gay club scene, some gay people bond over chemsex, doing like a mix of heroin and all this drugs and, having depraved whatever on the dance floor and thinking this is better than being a Chad at an EDM college fest. How underground is that? But again, I think there's a bond between hetero and homosexual relationships with the use of cocaine compared to weed or other drugs. With cocaine, you get excited. If I walk in someone's house and he's like, man, I got some weed. And I'm like, well, if I smoke your bag of weed, likely it's going to feel like a bag of burnt potato chips. And then you're going to listen to some psychedelic rock or contemplate how your life sucks. But with cocaine, Now, I never did cocaine. I'm not a cocaine user. I never did cocaine at all. But with cocaine, and from people who offered me cocaine, it was this kind of like, hey, I got some cocaine. Hey, you want to do some coke with me? And one time, one time I was on the dance floor, and there was this gay Asian guy who was making out with me, and he tried to put this bottle up my nose, and I was so scared. I said, no, I can't. And then I just ran home, and I was so scared that night. He was trying to date drug rape me. But it shows you that this drug is kind of like this date rape drug and so dangerous. And my other friends were like, hey, what happened to you? And I'm like, yeah, this gay Asian guy was trying to put coke up my nose or something. But anyway, it's used at that device as well. So there's something of this special aurora around coke. I mean, the actor Jean-Claude Van Damme has been known to, back in the 90s, spend $10,000 a week on his cocaine use just so he can get his kick, so he can lift weights, feel no pain, and have this RoboCop rush of an 80s mullet style fun, you know? When I think of cocaine, I like to think of that scene in RoboCop with the 80s vaporwave boss and his big-haired babes until he gets assassinated by the robot drug lord or whatever. So there's also the urge to act dumb with cocaine. I think this goes for most drugs, but particularly of cocaine. I remember coming across this hang tie on Facebook, and this rough, bad English translation or Japanese English was saying, don't you want to act dumb during sex? Just let it all go away. And I find that incredibly dangerous too, as that's date rape, and this method of feeling no responsibility on drugs, and that you have no self-awareness, that it's okay to be controlled and dominated by someone who's going to objectify you. You know, there's just something wrong with that ookie behavior, if you would like to call it, like a monkey. So I guess, why are we objects of rape under capitalism that makes us this way? Also, I want to keep in mind that I also read an article titled Lucy in the Sky with Nazis, Psychedelics in the Right Wing by Dr. Brian Pace, where he talks about all the psychedelic use, not cocaine, but of, pot, DMT, and what happened in the far right and kind of that culture, which I still believe it's always been there, but no one has ever been honest about it. And if there is this secret brotherhood of cocaine, maybe there always has been a brotherhood of psychedelics and homosexuality getting through. I think cocaine is a different drug because it makes the mundane life of the poor class happy and innocent. It reminds them when they were kids and like they're kids in college again. You can have a 35-year-old do cocaine with a 23-year-old and then have inappropriate gay soft sex on the dance floor because they're both coked up or something. Or maybe they do coke as a way to do things like coffee, to, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, lift weights. And so I'm really getting at the point that cocaine is this prep drug where everyone who has offered me cocaine or people I've seen done cocaine get excited doing it than compared to weed or some other drugs that deals with depression, anxiety. Cocaine seems to be the drug that sounds more exciting in preparation to do. And if you could get that goal and make the goal of about to snort coke and be more honest and sincere about intentions, about what it means to live the good life or what it means to be happy, what is the true intention, the psychological Carl Jung archetype of what it means to be high on coke, what it means to have that blood rush. And so I think there has always been a brotherhood of cocaine use, or even a sisterhood of cocaine use, that needs to be further investigated, and how it connects this kind of egalitarian way of thinking